everyone, and welcome to the Rumble and Roar podcast. Today, we're going to touch bases on our last podcast that we had, which was on mental health. This is the part 2 to mental health. We had some people who asked questions about mental health. So what we did was we went online and we looked up for certain things that you asked about and tried to get some answers to it. So what we're going to do today is give you the questions and the answers of what people called in about. Right?
Yes. I think mental health is just like a wide range, so it's more so about your research, and so that's what we did. So we are ready to come to you guys with the different questions that were brought to us. So the first question.
Well, I just want to let them know. I want to let them know that the term mental health and mental illness are something interchanged, but they differ in meanings. While mental health refers to anyone's state of mind, emotional well-being, mental illness is a diagnosed condition that affects thoughts and behaviors. That's what I need to let them know, because last week I didn't know that. I was just thinking, why, what made them be that way, you know, and how does it happen? And so those things, because I didn't know. So I looked it up, and I did look up, can you be born with mental health? Remember when I asked that?
Yes.
And I asked the guest speaker, and I'm not sure if she touched on that or not, but I looked it up. Can you be born with mental health? Mental disorders are the results of both genetic and environmental factors. There is no single genetic switch that, when flipped, cause a mental disorder. Consequently, it is difficult for doctors to determine a person risk or inheritant a mental disorder or passing on disorder to their children. So they're not absolutely sure if you can pass it on to your children, but I read something else that said that it can be passed on when a woman is pregnant.
I feel that there are certain type of mental illnesses or mental disorders that can be passed on, like schizophrenia.
Oh yeah, that's now I read about that. I did my homework. That's one of the high ones. That's like really, really high mental health. That's really up there.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I think that there are certain things that can be passed on, but like some of the lesser ones that are more common, such as depression or anxiety or stress, I think those are things that are a product of your environment.
Well, it is.
Right.
I did research that, and it is a product of your environment. It is.
But I think that certain things you probably are born with, like we were saying, the more common ones.
Okay, so there's another question. Remember last week I said, what caused mental health? What makes it happen? Remember when I asked our guest speaker, and she said that it's a number of things. It's like a puzzle. It's like something that builds.
Right.
So when I looked this up, it said the exact cause of mental disorder is not known. It's just not known.
Right.
But research suggests that a combination of factors, including
heredity,
BAM, biological,
psychological,
BAM, trauma, and environmental stress. It might be something that is a factor.
Right.
And I think she did say that. She said it's different things.
Right.
You know.
Well, because everybody's mental is different. So the thing, like something that might trigger me or something that might trigger you,
It'll affect us differently.
Right.
Yeah.
And people that are from different generations where things are different now, like the millennials. It's just everything affects everybody differently. Like what the millennials may go through now that is stressing them out, or they have anxiety attacks.
It's a breeze for us. And you said that on the last podcast. You were like, we are just made different. Yes, you did.
So yeah, it's just everybody's mental is different, and we just have to try to figure out what's the best way to get people to get the help that they need.
Right.
Because, I mean, and you may not even need help. It may just be small things that you need to do within yourself to just get yourself together.
Because some mental health is actually good. You know, everybody, I'll read it because I did do my research and I was reading that everybody has mental, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And some of it is good, some of it is needed to develop you, you know. But the bad part of it is the kind that controls you and controls your mind. Here was one, it says, can two mental illness people have a relationship?
I mean, it may be a toxic relationship, but I mean, I think that they can. But if you haven't determined what's wrong with you, why would you want to involve that with somebody else?
Well, what if you don't even know that person, the person that you're with probably don't even know that they're the mental health. Some people, when they have it, they don't even realize they have it. They just think this is a normal thing or just something going on. If it's not real very bad, where they're in a depression and don't want to be with other people, they might feel like, oh, okay, this is how everybody feels. I don't have no mental health.
Right.
I just don't want to be bothered with you today. I don't want to be whatever. But in actuality, they do. They are, you know, they have a tad bit of something mental going on. And then you can get with somebody else that feel the same exact way as this person. So you got two people together that has mental health. Can they survive together? Can they be together? Let's read this together. This is the answer. It says whatever the reason
It's definitely possible for two people with similar or even very different mental diagnoses to have a happy, healthy, and functional relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that because I already feel like it's just too many toxic relationships. Now, whether you, I mean, because no, like you know, there is something going. There's something like you may not even think it could be the smallest thing.
Yeah.
But I promise you, this has been your problem in previous relationships.
Probably so.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that gets me with people. It's like, come on, if 1 billion people told you you're yellow, you are waterproof, you know, the water rolls off your back, and you're quacking, you sound like a duck. 1 billion people told you you sound like a duck. Why are you saying that? No.
It's not that. So my brother actually told me that. So I went through a series of.
Your brother told you that?
Yeah, no, seriously, not that exact thing, but my brother had to sit down. I went through a series of 3-month relationships. Literally 90 days.
Oh wow.
I would find something wrong.
What's his name on the dang Family Feud? Steve Harvey. Didn't he say something about that 90-day rule thing?
Yes. So
okay,
the 90-day rule with his book was like, let's not have sex for 90 days.
Okay, gotcha.
Mine was, because I was definitely having sex chat. But no, mine was like, okay, 90 days to the day, I would find something. And it was like something that would click in my head that morning. Oh, today is day 90.
Did you look for it?
No, like I promise you, it would be 90 days exactly. And something would click. I don't know if the Lord spoke to me or what. It was like, girl, today is the day. But it will be anything. Oh, you was really snoring last night. And I'm not gonna be able to deal with that. But I think my issue was commitment issues. Like I really didn't ultimately want to be in a relationship, but people just really love me. Like, no, seriously, people really love me and they cling to me really quick. And I just be like, oh, that really wasn't what I wanted. Yeah, so.
But you're smothering me. Get bad.
I promise you, 90 days to the exact day, I would be like, oh, shit.
You don't think that was you?
So this is the
to hit it on the 90-day mark all the time,
yes,
it's gotta be you.
So the conversation I had with my brother was like, so it's not them, it's you. And I was just like, oh, maybe it is. So the next relationship I got into, I bypassed so many red flags with that person because I felt like it was me.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna skip past that because normally that would bother
that
me.
discerning spirit, and that don't look over red flags.
Listen.
Those red flags are there for a reason.
And that's what I did.
No.
He made me feel like, okay, it's you, it's not them. And I bypassed so much stuff. So that's a mental health thing too, because I was like, all right, I'm determined to make a relationship work, and I bypassed so many red flags and wasted so many years with a person to be nowhere.
But see, so that's so catch-22, because see, you're thinking, okay, maybe it's me, and because it's at the 30-day mark, it could be me. But then if it is really them, you're trying to downplay it and say no, because if I mess around and let this one go because it's really me, oh my God.
Yes. So that's where I was for a long
terrible.
time. And I wasted 5 years with a person. 5 years.
So what happened? Did it turn out to be where you are you not with that person anymore?
I mean, no, we had a baby. So we're good. I mean, I'm good. I don't.
Yeah, but do you guys, I mean, so why do you feel that it has anything to do with mental health?
I just feel like mentally, I allowed someone to come in and tell me it's not you. What I was doing was recognizing red flags in the beginning.
Okay.
That was allowing me to break up with these people. So even though it was a 90-day thing, I don't know if that had something, I don't know if that was just something to do with it, but what it was the Lord was telling me, you were not for me.
You're not for me.
But when it was told to me, like, maybe it's you, mentally, I'm like, well, damn, okay, I need to get myself together.
Okay.
And maybe maybe my standards are too high. I'm going to bring my standards down, and I ignored a lot of red flags in the following relationship that I shouldn't have ignored. And I really was like, all right, maybe that's small, because before that would be like, yeah, no.
I don't care what it is. It's something. So I'm gonna act on it, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's how it was before. So I was like, all right, maybe I can teach him out of that. Maybe women feel like we're nurturers and we can just be like,
we are.
I know I am. Grown men, that's the problem. We feel like we feel like we can nurture grown men, and that's listen.
When they're in their ways, they're in their ways.
But that was my problem. So that's why I feel like it was a mental thing for me, because it was told to me like, maybe you're the problem. So I'm like, okay, well, let me figure out my problem.
Yes.
And it stressed me out at the end of the day. So, yeah.
No. Okay. So, well, I have another question. Let's see. At what age what age does it start? And I remember asking our guest speaker last week, I was like, okay, so are you born with this? Because I always wanted to know. Remember, I even made the statement, I do believe that gay and lesbians are born gay. I just believe that. I believe it. And that's what I said before. But I didn't know that mental health, can you be born with it? Is it something that starts right away from birth? Is it inherent? Yeah, they said some of it could be, generic. Some of it could be, so I found that question out, it could be generic. On this one here, it says, at what age does mental illness start? This is what it says. 50% of mental illness begin at age 14, and 3/4 begin by the age of 24.
I feel like nowadays with this new generation, 14 is a very critical age.
12 is.
Yeah.
It starts at 12 to me.
But you see kids that are younger, so do you see any type of issues?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, I do. And I'm glad that you asked. I do, I do have a daycare, and I am with the newborns and toddlers. And I do see things in them where I can see stress. I can see stress from home. I can see the way that they act, that there is something going on. I can't say it's mentally at that point, but I can certainly look at them and say, okay, that's different. That's what they're doing, and that's different.
Okay.
And like if one of the kids are playing and somebody started making a whole bunch of noise or doing whatever, and they're over in the corner, and this has happened. I mean, I've been in business 26 years. they're making a whole bunch of noise or doing whatever, and another kid will just go to themselves and be like this. Like they don't want to hear it, or yeah, and you can tell that that's something. That's
happening at their house.
I don't want to say, one thing I have to be careful. I don't want to say it's at their house, but I can say that there is something mentally going on for him to be so afraid of this loud noise, or so afraid of when you get in a group with all the other kids and they're doing something. It's like you're acting different. You're not real comfortable like the other kids and just doing what you do. You're like, okay, I'm not sure if I want to be a part, or you'll sit back and you'll be fidgety with your hands and looking at them, and it's telling you that, I don't know if that's mental or is that, I don't know, but that tells me that there is something more.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But my son, so sometimes I can just like turn on the garbage disposal. He does not like loud noises. Yeah. Like I said, I'll turn on the garbage disposal, or even when I'm cooking, I turn on the oven fan or the stove fan. He just does not like that.
I know in newborns it startles them.
Okay.
Because of course their ears are developing.
Right.
And they're not used to noise or anything, period. Mm-hmm. So when they hear something, of course if it's louder than a whisper, they're like, okay, wait a minute, that's brand new to them. Their ears are brand new in this world. Mm-hmm. So if you turn on some daggone loud music, of course it's gonna startle them.
Right.
But I'm saying like a 4 or 5 year old, and everybody is screaming and doing, things and having fun, and it like blowing bubbles, and everybody's like, wow, happy with the bubbles, and they're over there like, okay, that to me, I can't diagnose a child. I am not a doctor and I'm not a counselor, but I do look at the child and I'm like, okay, there's something else going on, because I'm thinking the child should be enjoying the bubbles. Right. And jumping up and down, instead of like, why? It's everybody so loud, calm down. He's wanting everybody to calm down instead of everybody, instead of you jumping around with them.
But so is that attributed to mental health? Because like I said, my son does that. Mm-hmm. And I'm just generally cooking and he's just like, this is so loud, can you turn it off? And I'm like, well, why? I'm trying to figure out, like, why is this bothering you? Like, it's not like it's just something that we don't normally do.
Well, just look into it. You never know. And you can look into it as a parent. Okay. You can look into it. You can just, you can do your research, and you can also ask the doctor. You can say, okay, my son is XYZ age years old, okay? And I can turn on the garbage disposal. He can hear the lawnmower outside, or he can hear somebody doing the hedges or whatever, and it's loud noise. Is it normal that noise is not good for him? And they can let you know, because they are the experts. Okay. They can let you know, wait a minute, that's not normal for, it might be normal for a baby. There you go, a newborn, because their ears are sensitive and it's brand new. But for a 5 or a 6 year old or even a 4 year old, they should be used to a couple of sounds by now. And if it still alarms them when now anybody, even you and I, if you turn it up too loud, it's gonna startle me. Don't turn it up too loud.
But these are just like everyday
everyday noises that you would think that other kids would be like, okay, no big deal, ignore it. Okay, well then look into it. All you gotta do is ask your doctor. Okay. Always notate stuff. Notate things, and see, that's the thing with parents, and I hate to say, but with parents, they don't they don't know to do this. I mean, parents are parents. They need to notate things when they see their children doing things, and then write it down and say, this is something I need to ask the doctor. This is something, because most of them will look at it, they'll diagnose it themselves, or they'll feel like it's not a big deal, or they'll feel like, oh, okay, that's normal. No, if you have an inkling of a concern, that's what the professionals are for. That's what you're paying them for.
And you see, that's why I ask you a lot about what's going on with my son, because I'm like, okay, I know you have seen a lot of kids, and you have a lot of information. So before I go to his doctor, or, once I take him to the doctor, do you think there's something specific I should ask? Because obviously this is not something I've dealt with before. So I do ask a lot of questions. I do think a lot of parents are kind of hands off, or maybe they just have other.
They
things
just,
going
you know,
on,
they
but-
just don't know, and they really, they don't mean any harm by it, and they're not. I'm not gonna say they're in a denial. It's just parenting. Certain things you feel like, oh, okay, that's normal. It's not a big deal.
Well, what do you compare it to call it normal? Because I had an older kid and I had another kid 12 years later. So there's stuff about him that I'm just like, yeah.
All kids are different. That's what we're gonna establish in the beginning.
Okay.
Just understand that just because your daughter was some certain way, or even if there's another son, every child is different.
Right.
Every child learn on their own way. You know, it's not like because your first child could be a rocket scientist, your second child could be dumb as a box of rocks. You know, however, I know that's terrible, but no, you cannot do that. You just want to take your children and observe them and know. But in your mind, if it's in your heart and your spirit, you'll know. When you look at your child, if you say, okay, why is he so annoyed with this noise? It just don't seem like it should be.
Right.
Of course you ask your daycare provider, and when you ask me, of course I do my classes. I have to be abreast, and I need to know what's going on, you know, and I try to take my classes to know, but I can only, I'll know so much, and if I will tell you that this is what I learned, this is what I know, this is what I think, but the bottom line, what do I always tell you? Ask your primary physician, a professional. Because when it comes to your baby, you don't want to assume, you don't want to think, you don't want to play with it.
Yeah.
Just ask them. And even if, you know, what do they always say in school? The worst question is one that's not asked.
Right.
If you don't ask it, that's the worst thing because you ain't gonna never know. There's not a dumb question. Ask your physician. And if you walk in there and say, you know what, my baby was jumping when I turned on such and such. Don't feel dumb or stupid or whatever. No.
Yeah.
They are there to answer that question.
Right.
Why did they feel that way? Because I don't feel like they should have been jumping over this.
Mm-hmm.
And they will tell you, or they will explain to you, okay, it might be something real serious that you should have said something to them.
Right.
You know, and you don't, and then they're walking around life and it's getting worse, whatever that is going on. You know what I mean?
Well, that ties back into the mental health because a lot of people, they really don't want an actual diagnosis.
That's denial.
That is denial.
Now that's denial.
It is, but it's okay. So like, if we're talking about stress or depression, do you really want to go to somebody, you know, and you're telling them, hey, this is what's going on with me? You'd be like, oh, okay, you got depression. I'm gonna put you on these pills. And we saw the little commercial.
No, now see, now that thing I hate when anybody want to just throw you on pills. You know, but
that's what doctors are paid to do.
I know, that's terrible. I mean, I don't know if that's what they do. I don't know that. I don't know that for sure. However, I know that that's terrible if that is what they do because you're not going to put my children on no daggone pills. That you're not going to do. You can tell me whatever you want to tell me.
My kids don't get shots.
They're only going to take the pills when if I feel that they're, but I try to stay against that, you know, if we absolutely can.
Right.
But I'm going to just tell you a story. I just do believe that it's very, very important that you talk to your doctor, and because I had a child that was in my daycare, and they actually started at probably 7-8 months, and as they got older, I observed them, and I would tell the parent, I said, look, your child is responding kind of slow. There's something going on that I see from the classes that I take, and I think that they should actually on certain things they're delaying and replying or responding. You know, I could say something like, let me give you an example. I could say, take this circle and put it in this square, that little square right there. And the child would do this, you know, even though they heard me, they have good ears, good everything to go. And it takes a minute, you know, it'll take them a minute. However, and I'm sitting there waiting on them to do whatever they're gonna do because I'm observing them. And they'll go, and it computes really slow. And it's like, and then they'll look. And then I'll say, oh, good, very good. You know, because you don't ever be like, well, dang, that was too slow. That's insane. You don't do that. Well, however, when I saw that, I don't see it one time. I never go to a parent and be like, oh, I saw this today and be on them. No, because it could be a bad day. It could be whatever. I wait and I see, you know, after a couple of days, couple of weeks or whatever. And then when I write stuff down, and then I'll tell the parent.
Okay.
This particular parent, I told them, I said, look, what I was observing is that your child is, when I tell them something, it's taking them a moment to compute. It's taking them a moment to respond.
Right.
And I am not going to, because I can't tell you what to do about this, how to do it, but please go to the doctor and let the doctor know that your daycare provider said she observed your child, not for one day, not for 1 week, for a while, and the child is not responding the way that I think that is because we have things to go by where a 3-year-old should be somewhere in this area. All 3 years old learn differently on different levels. However, there is something where it's a normal standard that's what they should be doing. Thank you. And so when it's not there, I'll tell you, look, please ask your doctor about XYZ. When I told this parent that, the parent was like, no. Now this is a parent that was in denial, and it's okay. We're all human. We love our children. We just don't want to hear nothing bad. But this parent was like, no. XYZ is fine, and it's just old school. When you tell her to do something, if it takes her too long to do it, you just whoop her butt. You know, and I was like, I am so sorry, but we cannot do that here. No, and that's not, no. You gotta go, just ask the doctor about it. No, Miss Buttram, I don't need to ask no doctor. I know what to do with my child at home. I said, okay. And I can tell that it was, they were a tad bit upset with me. And it's daycare is a hard job because first-time moms are something else. But they're first-time moms. Yeah. I was one, so I understand. Right. But when I told them that, and they were like, no, you know, I can tell in their voice, in their manner, everything, that they were a little irritated with me. I'm trying to make this story as short as I can. However, I was like, oh my gosh. And that was when the child was like, I want to say 2.5, maybe 3, maybe 3. Okay. I wasn't going to say anything else. So at 4, the child was still in the daycare, and it was still happening. And I said, listen, I need you to take them to just talk to the doctor and let them know that this is what your daycare provider says. Right. I'm not saying that. Yeah. More than you are. Yes. I just tell them what I'm telling you to tell them. And that's when they got angry with me and said, I'm not taking them nowhere. There's nothing wrong, and I'm getting tired of you keep saying that. And that's exactly what I took. I did just like this. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm doing it out of love. There's no way in the world that I would just make something up and just want to make you feel bad about your child. I'm sorry. I'll never say it again. After that second time, I will never say it again. How about the child graduated and went to regular school, and when they went to regular school, they had other children in the daycare, younger ones, so they would take that child to school and come back and pick up their child but long of the short, they came in and picked the younger children up. As I do. Hey, how you doing? Come on in. They did this today, XYZ and whatever. And then I'm looking at that face. You know how I do at the end of the day. When y'all are looking like, okay, this has been a bad day at work. But I looked at this person's face. And I was like, what's wrong? When I tell you I don't have a red, but their face was as red as a beet. It was so terribly red. And I was like, what's wrong? What happened? And they just started crying and said, Miss Butchwell, they diagnosed my baby at school. Look, they've been observing her, and they've been writing it down, and they said they've been watching for her for probably the last 4 to 6 months, and they said that I'm gonna need to take her to the doctor, and they diagnosed. But I think the school, I'm telling you what I heard from this parent. The school said that they think that your child has ADHD, something like that. And then I looked, and I did not say I told you so or nothing like that. My heart went out, and I said it's okay, because they're only 5 or 6, and now that we know, it'll be better now because you can actually you can help.
Right.
But when you ignore it and you in denial, and they get older and older and older, and it's getting worse and worse and worse, and you don't let years go by, and that stuff is in them. It's like anything else. I mean, you can teach an old dog new tricks, you can, but it's gonna be a real trick to do that. Most people say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but just like a child, and I should not use that as an example, but anybody, like an old man. That's funny, right? An old man, when they get into their, it's like, look, this is who I am, take it or leave it, But try to get them early and help them. Don't let them get older and have that into them,
Yeah, I think we went through that with my son as well. Like, we may have thought that there was some type of delay and maybe there was some autism. Do you think I went and got him checked? Absolutely,
Yes,
because that's what you're supposed to do. Like, let a professional tell you. And I think that's a problem with mental health as well. Like, people are afraid to go and let somebody tell them.
Denial.
That this is,
And shoot, that's just like people with health problems.
And any type of
Do you know that's why a lot of men, not a doctor, I gotta constantly say, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a counselor, but from what I see and what I hear, a lot of men don't go to the doctor for that very reason. They don't want to be hearing them doctors tell them, okay, your prostate's messed up, you have diabetes, you're eating the wrong things, you need to exercise. Men do not want to hear that, so they don't even go.
Well, if you went to the doctor every 6 months or every year, it wouldn't be.
And then you get what they tell you to do.
Yes.
So, but I just a lot of people are in denial, and that's what makes the kids. If they do, like this thing said, it starts at age 14 to 24, and you seeing stuff, and you might see it yourself. You probably saw it before the age of 14. You probably saw it early on, and you were like, oh, okay, they just tripping, they're just being kids, they're just being whatever. And with millennials, because things are so different now, you probably say, okay, that's just what they do. No, but even if it is what they just what they do, what's wrong with asking the doctor?
Well, the problem is they're not very expressive, so you're really not aware of it until it's reached an extreme, and they don't want to talk.
On some of them, but sometimes you can just watch your child. Yeah, they don't talk a lot.
Like the ones who be out here shooting up stuff. Anyway, we're gonna move on.
Okay, and this is another question. Can a mental illness be cured? Would you like to read that?
Yes.
I think it's really good because I've already read it, but it's...
So, right now, most mental illnesses cannot be cured, but they can usually be treated effectively to minimize your symptoms and allow the individual to function in work, school, or social environments. But to begin treatment, an individual needs to see a qualified mental health professional. Go to your doctor. Please talk to your doctor. It's like that is a crucial part of this. Like, even if you think that there may be something wrong, or you're just like, oh, it's not a problem, I can deal with it, but it's mounting.
Yes.
You can't deal with
that
it.
guest speaker said it's a puzzle with a lot of pieces, and it can just keep piling.
Yes. So I think that if you can't talk to like your parent or a really close friend, a mentor, mentors are really good for millennials to me. I think if you guys can find somebody,
talk to them.
No, because like my daughter, she is very good.
Oh, if it's somebody her age.
No. This lady
Somebody else, not mommy and dad.
Right.
Okay.
This is somebody at her school.
They don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, this is somebody at her school. She's like an advisor at the school. She comes home, when I pick her up, she's like, oh, Miss such and such told me this and this. I'm just like, I told you that 3 weeks ago. But if you
why do they not hear it from us? When we say the same things, they just don't hear it.
It feels like, but did you hear it from your mom?
You know what? To be honest, let me just say this. I believe that children hear us, but they don't apply it, wait a minute, until something happens. Like, and that's a good question. Did I hear it from my mom? Yes, I did. And I got tired of, no, you can't. You just listen to what I say. I don't have to explain nothing. What I say is what I say. However, I heard everything she said.
Exactly.
And
you apply it.
Wait a minute, I still did what I wanted to do.
Yes.
But you can best believe when something happened and the things that she told me, I was like, oh, John, this is what Mom was talking about. I'm in a situation. I better apply I know what she said. And I apply what she told me to that situation so I can get my
Exactly.
You know?
But when we're like our kids' age, if we're thinking like when we were that age and our mom was telling us something, it's like, oh my God, my mama, it's my mama. Like, y'all is just, this is how y'all grew up and this is what y'all went through and that's how y'all parents, raised y'all. Like, it's different every generation. So, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna do what I have to do. I'm gonna figure it out or, whatever. But, yeah, we can tell our kids all day. They're gonna be like, yeah, that's my mom. So, But they listening. They are listening. And like you said, when they come to a specific situation, they're going to apply it because they hear you. But every situation, probably not, because it doesn't apply to every situation to them.
Yeah, just like
so we can't expect that.
Okay. I'm trying to find some more.
We got more questions for y'all.
Yes, we do, because I know that there's somebody out there that is actually thinking about these, the ones that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Hey, apparently so. Wait a minute. Apparently so. They asked some of these questions, and that's why we're trying to explain them or answer them as best we can. Let's see. What are the 4 types of mental illness? Or what are some types of mental illness? I'm not going to say 4. We have anxiety disorder, personality disorder. We have an eating disorder. We have a really major one, which is schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia, yes. And I believe that is hereditary.
It is. I read that. It is hereditary.
Yes, and just different type of, psychotic, that's a type of psychotic disorder, but schizophrenia is definitely something that is running in your family. The problem is a lot of families don't really know each other these days. So you can't really go back and say, oh, my aunt had this is where it came from. So I encourage everybody to go and get an ancestry test. Just get you,
wow.
Okay.
Yes.
Get you an ancestry test so you can know where you came from. The ancestry test, it'll you can get on like the little ancestry app, and other people in your family who've taken one, it links you guys together. Not necessarily saying you have to meet up with this person or whatever, but at least you know where you came from and you can determine like where different things or different illnesses in your family are coming from. That is very important. I think that everybody should do an ancestry test. I'm getting ready to do mine.
Well, I think that's important. It really is. For some reason, I'm just thinking, wow, ancestry, that's a lot. Do you know how many people in the world?
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And it's my crazy, but I don't believe that they can really, with my DNA, tell me that I'm related to King Tut.
Listen, yes they can. My boyfriend just did one. My boyfriend is black. Both his parents are black. Now, he did an ancestry test. He has Scottish royalty
Dang.
Scottish royalty.
Okay.
Scottish. Now we know Scottish people, they're not black. Anyway, but yeah, he has Scottish royalty, so I'm very interested. I showed you my grandma earlier. I definitely feel like I have some different type of backgrounds in my family. So I'm very interested to find out how this works. But yeah, I think everybody should do that because you never know, like different type of things that are hereditary. Like we're talking about the mental illnesses that are hereditary. You need to research that so you can figure yourself out like completely.
Yeah, but I mean, an ancestry test to see who your ancestors are. I think that's a good thing. I do, but to know that you are related to someone way back, you know, I mean, at least you can see.
Well, it's not necessarily that. So let's say, okay, you do an ancestry test, you're related to whomever. What you're trying to figure yourself out at the end of the day. So it's not even about, you know, I'm meeting this relative, because I have another.
Okay, so you're trying to say, okay, so what if I do an ancestry test and it said that you are related to Hitler? This is why you are a fool today.
Exactly.
So you say crazy as hell. I say a fool. But this is why you're the way you are. Wow. That's a lot of, Hitler got his own mama and daddy. He has his own, you know, how could that trigger on down?
But y'all have the same blood. Like, if you related to this person, there is something in him that triggered him for what he did.
It's real. It's real talk.
And it is real. It's very real to know who you are as a person and where you came from.
Oh, wow.
So I'm definitely gonna do that. I will share that with you guys as well. But that's what I'm on. I think everybody should do it.
Am I terrible because I'm like, look, it doesn't even matter. I don't care. No. I don't care. What I'm concerned with is now, the here and now. My children. And I need to know about my husband's family because if they got some cray-crays on their end, I need to know because I don't want my children to be cray-cray and my cray-cray on my end because we do got some cray-crays in our family. However, that's I think that writing this day and time is what I'm worried about. Going way back to ancient time. I don't even care. Is it terrible?
No, it's not, honestly. But I think that that's a generational thing as well. Because it's like, I mean, I have come this far. Like, why do I need to go back to that? Like, why do I need to go back?
I just don't care. I mean, whatever my, well, that's terrible to say.
It's not.
It's terrible to say, but even if I found out who they are, even if I found out whatever, I mean, it's good knowledge to have, and it's just good to know, but I need to know what's going on here and now. I need to make sure my children are going to be better later. That's what I'm concerned with right now.
But making sure that your children are better later, even though
is to know what happened in the past.
Because you have stuff that is hereditary.
Yeah.
So you have to
like heart
research
disease and cancer and stuff like that.
You have to research that stuff.
That is so true.
It's not necessarily connecting with over, because I don't want to connect with nobody. I ain't even gonna lie. When I do my ancestry test, do not hit me up, because no,
they're not gonna hit you up anyway.
Well, no, because the app. There's an app, the Ancestry app, so it connects you to people who are this person. It'll give you a whole family tree.
Yes.
It'll give you a whole family tree. This person is related as your sister.
Really?
Yes. There's an app. So you can choose to reach out to these people. You can choose to block your profile to say, I don't want none of them to reach out to me. But it will connect you to everybody that has done
now
a
that's
test.
interesting.
Yes. Everybody has done a
because
test.
that brings it a little bit closer, and then you will now see. I like that because something that way back in the 1800s, and I know that Harriet Tubman is my daggone aunt or something like that.
Like we all know that there is some type of white in our family. Our families were slaves at some point, and we know. Anyway, moving on. But
people like you.
no, don't do that because I promise you, if you ever we see your mama, don't do us.
Oh,
We have seen your mama.
Did you put my mama?
I did. Don't do us because baby, your mama was light skinned. So there's some type of all American black people. There's some type of white in our family, unless you are fresh from Africa, just like a few years ago. So I think it's important to do that, but it's not. I'm not trying to connect with family because my daddy was a Rolling Stone baby. So
I loved your father so much.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I know he got a lot of kids that I've never met. So that's my only fear. Like, I don't want it to be like, let me connect with this person because it says that this is my sister and I don't really have nothing to say.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you what my experience was. My dad was there from day one, so why he wasn't there, I don't want to have to go through that.
Right.
And it's none of my business.
Right.
And not only that, like,
and I don't know if I trust it. Because just because the DNA, I know that's crazy as crap, because DNA is DNA. I know that sounds crazy as crap, but just because the DNA said, well, you know, Mr. Anderson could be your dad, and you know, you're related to the Smiths, you're related to the Matthews, you're related to XYZ. Just because it says that don't mean I'm about to go on and reach out to them. I don't even care if it has the first and last name. I don't care.
But the thing is, on that app, once you do it, if you don't make yourself private, people that do it as well, they can reach out to you. Yes. So that's what I don't want because I know because I know I have brothers and sisters that I don't know of. Like my dad was like, you know, back in the day when girls would be like they pregnant, he'd be like, that's your problem. I was like, oh shit.
Well, you know, what's really good is that we did answer a lot of questions that people wrote in, and we did the best that we could, and it was, look, we're not counselors, we're not doctors, however, we did try to look it up and give you the best answers that we could come up with. However, we'll try to answer maybe a couple of more, and then we'll be done with this part of our mental health podcast. Yeah. So let's see, what do we have?
So the one that I have is, what is normal mental health? Good mental health is characterized by a person's ability to fulfill a number of key functions and activities, including the ability to learn, the ability to feel, express, and manage a range of positive and negative emotions, the ability to form and maintain good relationships with others. So that's just living a normal life.
When you say normal mental health, that means everybody has mental health.
Right. So
there's some normal, the normal kind is the kind that you can function with every day.
Right. There's normal and abnormal.
So everybody has mental health.
Yes. So what you decide to do with it or how you decide to live with it is, I guess, what determines whether it's normal or abnormal.
Or if it's very high.
Yes.
If it's terribly high and you can't control it, that makes it on a different level, and you would have to, you know, like they say, get medication or do something further. So that's not normal. That's something that you can't deal with. So that's another level of mental health.
Yeah.
Okay. But so because I was gonna ask that question, does everybody have mental health? Is everybody, because I'm thinking, as long as you got a brain, there's something mental. Okay, there's something mental going on up there. Because when I tell you battlefield of the mind, always something thinking. So, okay, you just answered that. Give us another one.
So, how can I get my mind back?
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay. They got an answer for that?
Yes. So, a few different things that you can do to just get back to yourself. Like, get into a routine. Just, you know, set a schedule for yourself. You probably know by now that I love my routines, and you know it's just easy to get out of it with your just normal day-to-day life. But at some point of the day, you need to say, hey, I'm gonna set this particular time aside to do
Me.
yes.
Do me.
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to take a break away from social media. Social media can cause a lot.
Sometimes I think
issues.
that should be more than not.
Very true.
Yeah.
Especially, it depends on how you view social media. Like some people, like social media is like the Bible.
You know what? I think when I first got on social media, which was not long ago, I haven't been on it long, but when I first got on it, it seemed like so many people, their whole life on that thing.
The whole thing, and then wonder why they have stalkers. Well, you don't want to know why because you just told us where you were at.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna pull up. Like people bring this on themselves, is what I think. The things that you post, you're posting it to the world to see. And then you feel like it's weird because you have a fan that just showed up to where you're at. Like, no, you just told us where you were.
Yeah.
Utilize your alone time. I think it's very good for everybody to just center yourself and be by yourself.
Absolutely. I'm so sorry to cut you
No,
off.
you're fine.
But with that, so crucial. I absolutely have to have me time. I have to have silence. I can't write a book without silence. And I was just telling you about this. Remember I said my best thinking is at 2 and 3 in the morning because everybody's asleep and I don't have to worry about anything. When I tell you I can't hear anything, I want total silence. I need me, and I can hear me. I can feel me. So that me time, if that's what you're talking about, I need it.
Yes.
It's so crucial.
It is. And you deal with a lot of people throughout the day. So I know, like I have to take me time and I be by myself a lot of the day, but I be on the phone, so it's different. But yes, it's absolutely crucial to take time to yourself, even if it's just 15 minutes. You sit and you just say, you know what, all I want to do is just reflect on my day. Maybe reflect on my tomorrow. Like I know what I have to do tomorrow and I'm gonna set a schedule to figure that out. Meditate. That's also a part of reflection.
Every morning, yeah.
Meditating, yoga is really good too. Like everybody doesn't believe in yoga, but yoga and stretching and just becoming one with yourself, that can alleviate so much stress and so much anxiety, which is a huge factor when it comes to your mental health. Like you just need to let things go. Exercise, especially in the morning. Exercise gives you endorphins and that gives you energy and that just picks your whole spirit and your whole day up. So you need to, again, you still have to get in touch with yourself. A lot of people are just not in touch with themselves. They're just relying on other people's opinions of them, and that's the problem. Read fiction. Just get outside of the normal real life.
Just read.
Yes.
Read.
And reading fiction just gives you, you can tap into your imagination. And you can just go different places with your mind. So that's very helpful.
Yes.
And then sometimes when you're feeling some type of way, just write it down. Journaling. It's
very important.
Yes, but people think of journaling
journal,
diary.
Yes.
But it is a diary, but it was a diary when you were like 12. As a grown-up, you're really just writing out things, and when you write things down, it makes more sense to you, so you can read it back to yourself like, oh, okay, now I can compute it. Yes. So journaling is very important. Listen to music also.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes.
That's a very, very good one, and I actually use that a lot.
Okay. Is there a particular type of music like gospel?
For me, but gospel for me.
Gospel.
You already knew. I love my gospel music, especially if it's really good one. So that helps me out a lot, especially if I'm just in a way. I woke up that morning and I'm like, okay, I need some pickup. I just want my day to be good, and I will put some gospel music on, and when I tell you, it changed everything. It really does. So, yeah.
And get more sleep. I'm probably a victim of that. I definitely don't get 8 hours. I don't know who get 8 hours and have kids, but I don't get 8 hours of sleep. Like once my toddler, because I'm even gonna say kids, once my toddler goes to sleep, it's already like 10, 11 o'clock. So I still haven't had my me time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now I'm up to like 12 o'clock. I gotta be back up at 7 o'clock. But get your sleep. Get as much sleep.
No, at daycare at 7, so you're up at 6.
Listen. So get your me time and get as much sleep as you can.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if it comes down to this, ask for help. Go get you some help if you feel like your mental health is just at a point where you can't deal with it. You're extremely depressed. You're having anxiety attacks. You're having panic attacks. Like, go and talk to somebody. If it's not a professional, talk to somebody.
To me, I think that is like the most important thing on the list, because it's sort of like when you have a problem, in order to resolve the problem, you got to first acknowledge the problem. You got to acknowledge it. If you don't acknowledge it, you won't be able to solve it because you're in denial. So the problem will never be solved. But mental health, yes, you're dealing with something you're confused with, you don't understand, you don't want it to be there, and maybe someone else doesn't as well or whatever. But if you don't go and just ask someone for help, a professional, go to a counselor. Like I was telling our guest speaker, I said, some people, that was my first question. Why does people not want to go to counselors? And her reply was that they don't really think that they can help them, and that they don't trust them because they don't know how to help me with something. They don't know me. But you just gotta ask for help. You know, let me see. I read something today off of Facebook, and it said something about you don't have to worry about, you know what, I don't even know it verbatim because I'll mess it up. But it was something about if you keep your mouth closed, you can't, this is the analogy that if you, a fish that keep his mouth closed can never be caught.
True.
Okay? You can't be caught because you ain't gonna bite the daggone hook.
Right.
Okay? It's vice versa with this. If you don't open your mouth and ask for help, you won't get help because you can't, nobody knows that you need the help. So it's the same difference. So I'm like, okay. So that question there, I heard every one that you actually talked about, but that one stood out more so than anything because, yes, asking for help is really, really, really important.
And that's the ultimate thing. Like if you feel like you have done everything you can for yourself, then the next thing that should click in your mind is, I need help.
Yes. But even if you have not done everything for yourself, I just think that if somebody looking at this podcast and just know that, just ask someone to help you from the beginning, even if you don't feel like you should. Yeah, just try to go and ask someone for some help. Yeah. But with that said, do you have any more? Because we're going to be done with our podcast, and what we want to ask of our listeners is, as if you have any more questions, feel free, like you did the first time, and put them on our webpage. And all the questions that you ask, we will absolutely take each and every one of them, look them up, and give you the best answer that we know how. We are getting our answers, of course, off of Google and social media. However, I know that you can look for them yourself, and if you like to, you go ahead and do that. However, you might not have the time, or you just want us to elaborate on it or whatever, that's what we're going to do for you. So make sure that you put your comments and your likes and everything into the on our page, and we will see you next time on Rumble and Roar.
So feel the rumble and listen to the roar. We'll see you guys next week.
Next time.